Go get that thing I printed.
Oh, okay, yes, sir. I discovered we have some Rick Santorum fans in the room. So let me play this clip. This is an exchange between Governor Perry and former Senator Santorum from last night's GOP Fox News Channel debate in Florida.
The aviation assets
The rundown.
No, it's not working because the federal government is not. The federal government has not
Gang of Four, what would we say?
I think we did.
How about the other candidates that were kind of the other than Romney and Perry candidates? Who else was good last night? Who was strong?
Well, Newt Gingrich, of course, he's always excellent. He makes everybody else look inadequate.
Is he a guy who just has too much baggage and maybe whose time has come and gone already?
I think it's kind of what we talked about before the show as we discussed this. I think we all like Newt because of his depth and breadth of knowledge, and he's an incredibly gifted speaker. I mean, he's funny, he's quippy, but he's like really intelligent. I mean, that's exactly what you want from somebody up there who's running for president in a debate. It's just too bad that he has he's got personal baggage. I don't know which wife this is, number 3. Number 4, that little Tiffany scandal, penchant for jewelry, expensive jewelry or whatever, it doesn't help. I mean, if you're looking for somebody to watch the pennies, I don't know.
I thought it was good that he didn't wear any of that jewelry last night. I thought that was a good decision.
Yes.
Herman Cain. What do we think of Herman Cain?
I love the Hermanator. He was president of Godfather's Pizza when he single-handedly disarmed Bill Clinton during the healthcare debate back then. And then he rose to be the president of the National Restaurant Association. So here in San Antonio, we're very close to him. He's come in to speak on our events several times, and he's brilliant.
What's wrong with this process that the people you like have no chance? What is it? What's the answer to that?
Hey, now that's a great question because
Thank you.
See, if I'd had a chance, if I'd had a chance to kind of weigh in on, given the chance to weigh in on Gingrich, I would have said something that would just embarrass me and probably make everybody mad. But I look at Gingrich as extraordinarily knowledgeable and very, very intelligent. But I think he, in the past, has expressed his hatred for too many people. He's been too acrimonious. He's been too difficult to deal with. And so I look at him and I think, if you read just a couple of chapters of Mein Kampf, and this is what will get me in trouble, you'll actually conclude that Adolf Hitler was a genius and that he was brilliant and he was smarter than most everybody of his day, and he was very knowledgeable. But he was very evil also. So my question
Did he ever have a debate?
I don't know if I ever saw that.
with some stormtroopers, yeah, he would go in and knock some heads. But I think Gingrich has just a little baggage in my mind of being a guy that has trouble getting along with a lot of people, and I think he's an elitist.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Bachmann. What about Michelle Bachmann?
I thought she was better. Yeah, last night. I mean, there was the Iowa straw poll and the first debate, and she came out. Of course, Perry was not a part of that, and I think, there was a lot of interest in her, because Palin wasn't in it yet, so let's see what Bachmann stands for. Since that time, I've become, not that I was ever really enamored with Bachmann, and we've talked about this too, Jack, before. I'm all about strong female leadership, but I don't think Bachmann is it. I'll be real honest with you. And I thought her answers, she has very pat answers. I mean, she's pretty good. She's better than Perry when it comes to staying on message and spinning something. And this whole folksy, I talked to this person and, it's man on the street. And, kind of trying to really tell a story while she's up there at the same time. But there again, I think from a foreign policy standpoint, substance standpoint, I just don't think it's where it needs to be.
I did not like her, Jack, because I believe that her answers were all political. They're politicized.
Right. Exactly.
There's no way you can put a border fence along the whole border. The Hispanic Chamber has taken Senator Mitch McConnell personally down to the IBC ranch and said, okay, where do you put a fence through this stretch? And he said, you can't do it. So if she doesn't know that, or if she knows it and doesn't say it, that's not real good, because Mexico is our number one trading partner, both import and exports here in the state of Texas. And two, let me think, how was I going to put this? Number two, we have the biggest problem with these cartels. And so as the United States, we have Canada to our north, great neighbor, oceans on both sides. So our big problem is to the south. If we don't fix this, and you can't do it unilaterally, you have to do it with Mexico. So you put up a fence and you say, hey, why don't we work together to try to eliminate the cartels? How is that going to work? And if she doesn't know that, she should know it. And if she knows it and says the other, why?
Yeah. How about Ron Paul?
As far as libertarians go, the guy's he's got a great head on his shoulders. He's very intelligent. He handles himself well. I wonder a little bit about.
Like Mr. Magoo. Sorry.
Are you saying Mr. Magoo would not have made a great president? Because I think among cartoon characters, he would have been one of our all-time greats. He wouldn't have seen anything. He could have had total deniability. No, look, I mean, it's funny, though, isn't it? Because he's a
smart
talk
guy.
to people, and it seems like you're surrounded by people all the time. Oh, yeah, I love him. But what, 1%, 2%,
Yep.
5%, 8%? Nowhere, right?
Yeah, and Jack, I think it has to be this, that when everything boils down, we enjoy this, and we enjoy listening to the intellectuals. We admire these people. We admire them for their courage, and we admire some of them for their preparation. And preparation is such a key. I mean, you'd be shocked at how hard I prepared just to be on your show. I mean, the time and the hours that I put in. So preparation, I think, is real important.
It's coming as a great shock.
And
Sorry.
And so,
It was very unfortunate.
but I think
I'd like to withdraw that.
but when it all boils down, I think we're concerned about certain things, and I think those certain things are very personal to us. It may be the economy, it may be taxes, it may be the balanced budget, it may be just getting a job, and so you can listen to these people and you can admire them, but I think, frankly, what you're grasping onto is maybe keeping everything in the status quo except that one issue that may be so important to you where you need some help.
I have given this piece of advice to libertarians, not that they want it or will take it. Here's my theory. You want a libertarian president? Here's what you do. Don't run as a libertarian. Okay?
Exactly.
Transform into one on Inauguration Day. Because these ideas are very hard to sell. It scares people. They've been brought up their whole lives to think we couldn't do without nanny state government. However, once you're in, they can't stop you then.
Right.
Turn into one then. That's what I would do. I know that sounds ridiculous. They'll never do
Well,
that.
it's
But
not ridiculous.
that's what you have to do.
Think how many of the Supremes have done that. I mean, they once they get confirmed, they actually become real people.
The Supremes like the Motown.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they do that. They do that all the time.
Yes.
They
To get
con
confirmed.
everybody. They
Right.
get confirmed,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they get in and start actually acting like human beings and do what they want. And so, a president could do that. But it's like you say, and that's you say it so much better than I. That's what I was trying to say when I start talking about people want a norm, except for that one issue they need change for themselves. Is that anything outside of that I think scares them, and that's why Ron Paul will scare them.
So let's game this out a little bit. Do we think that Romney won the debate in the sense that he had a good performance, that Rick Perry didn't? I mean, is that safe to say? We're not saying that he's locked it away, but did he win that debate?
I think so.
Louis, would you say
I
so?
think Perry gave it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you
Right.
engage him? I still don't understand that. There's
I mean, he didn't do
Well,
anything wrong. He didn't make any mistakes.
No, he didn't. And I
Right.
think Romney beat Perry at his own game last night.
Right.
I mean, I really do.
So now people are saying, if it turns out to be Romney, that invites a third-party candidacy, because you're going to have people who will never believe him,
Yep.
who don't trust, even though the words are right, they're not quite sure he believes them. Plus, there's the Mormon thing. Is there a third party? What on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being most likely, are we going to see a third party run next year? Trish, we'll start with you. 1 to 10.
7.
7. And will that person come from the Republican Party, or will they come from out of nowhere politically, or where will it be a Democrat? I mean, what will it be?
I mean, my preference would be that they're not somebody that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen that's smart, that has good ideas, and really shakes things up. And I think there's a distinct possibility that could happen.
How about that guy Klaatu from The Day the Earth Stood Still? Maybe we can get him.
See, I can't imagine who you could be thinking about, Jake, because I think through them and I think there's nobody that I can think of right off the bat. There's one possibly who would make a great candidate but has trouble debating and even has trouble with simple questions and a little trouble putting a subject and a verb together in a sentence, but she's not going to run.
You don't think so?
No.
She's given every indication. She's dropping hints left and right.
Yeah, I just don't think it's there. I mean, y'all really think so?
I hope not.
I think she's looking at this Perry performance, thinking, why not?
Absolutely.
Oh, maybe now. Yeah.
Look, for crying out
Yeah,
loud, he's been in it
totally
5 weeks,
right.
and he's ahead. And his debate performances are horrible. If she's a little bit better than him in a debate, how bad could she do? And I'm not saying I want her to be president. I'm just saying I don't see how if she's gaming this out, how she doesn't see that as a good sign. But, people are mentioning, as late as it is there room for another Republican to get into this race? And I think now that they've seen 5 weeks of Rick Perry, maybe there is. I don't know who that is, but it didn't look to me like a finished field of people. This is it. There's no room, as I was watching it last night.
Yeah, I just can't think of anybody though. When you're talking about that, you brought it up in terms of what about a third candidate? I couldn't think of anyone other than maybe Sarah Palin that would have the name recognition and the history, and would have the political machine behind her to actually try to make a legitimate run.
And Jack, I still think there's room for another candidate, but it comes down to when you survey the canvas and the landscape, and
Right.
you look at the performance, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, there is room for another Republican to get in. But then if you look at it, very literally, when you look at the amount of money you have to raise,
Right.
the organizations that you have to get in place,
people you
the
need,
people,
yeah.
all that. I mean, then it becomes, very intimidating. Because, do I have the time to be able to ramp up? Because, A, you've got to have name ID. And if you don't have name ID, the only way to bolster that name ID is that you've got millions of dollars in the bank. And that's the only thing from a Perry standpoint. Don't underestimate his power to be able to raise money.
Yeah, and these guys have been out hustling money for so long. You got to remember that if somebody comes in late as a third candidate, you're having to go back to the guys with the deep pockets,
Yep.
the guys and girls with the deep
Yeah.
pockets, and try to get them to do a switch, and that's going to be very difficult.
All right, more Gang of Four. We'll move on to some other things with the gang and with you at 599-5555. It's 1041 on 550 KTSA.
50 KTSA.
Party, it's Gang of Four. We do it every Friday. By the way, CNN is now reporting that maybe, on second thought, the space debris could hit the United States. So, boy, this Obama guy just cannot catch a break, can he? I mean, now on top of everything else, one more falling indicator. But they're saying now they're not so sure. It's kind of they're fudging a little bit on that definitely not North America thing.
Now,
Interesting.
Why wouldn't we know? I mean,
How can we not know?
if just it would seem like simple calculus formulas.
These drones, I'm telling
could
you.
tell us where it's
We
going.
can hit somebody from 6,000 miles away, right, in one room of one
Yeah.
house in
Yeah.
Pakistan or something. I don't understand how we can not know where this is. And don't we have some sort of space weapon or something? I mean, you don't have to tell us how you do it. I know it's a big secret. Just tell us you liquefied it or dissolved it.
Exactly.
Or,
See, if I
Something.
was
be a great Obama speech. He could come out and give a speech about it or two.
If I was president, we would make space debris in kind of like a glowing neon orange, like glow in the
Yeah.
dark neon orange, and then I just tell everybody we'll go outside, just look up.